Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, where we're peeling back the layers on what really holds you back from financial freedom. Let's be honest, for a lot of us, talking about money feels less like planning a dream vacation and more like scheduling a root canal, right? It's tangled, maybe a little painful, and you're pretty sure you're not doing it right. But what if the biggest block isn't the numbers themselves or the secret strategies you haven't learned yet? What if it's something far more fundamental, something inside you? If you're ready to stop feeling like money is this mysterious, slightly terrifying force you're just surviving alongside, and start building genuine confidence and control, you're in the right place. We're here to cut through the noise, ditch the dogma, and build real, sustainable flow in your finances and your life. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, bringing these insights to more people who need them. And hey, we're building a community here. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win, no matter how small it feels. We celebrate all progress. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You know the feeling. It's that pit in your stomach, the subtle tension in your shoulders when you even think about checking your bank balance. You open the app, your thumb hovers, and then, nope, you swipe away. Suddenly engrossed in sorting your email inbox from 2012, or discovering that you desperately need to watch that anything but looking at the actual numbers. This isn't just procrastination, it's a powerful form of financial avoidance. It's the almost physical recoil from facing your reality head-on, a psychological defense mechanism kicking in, because the thought of dealing with money triggers discomfort, fear, or shame. People often underestimate how potent this avoidance is. It's not laziness, it's resistance driven by the stories you tell yourself. These stories sound incredibly convincing. I don't have enough anyway. What's the point of looking? Or, it's too complicated. I'll never understand bank statements or investments. Maybe it's, I'll deal with it when things are less stressful, which, let's face it, often means never. These narratives feel like truth, yet they are often reinforced by cultural myths that portray money as inherently stressful, complex, or exclusively the domain of finance gurus. You see the highlight reels online, the seemingly effortless wealth, the overnight success stories, and your own situation, with its confusing bills and uncertain savings, feels inadequate, messy, and utterly overwhelming by comparison. It's like everyone else got the instruction manual and yours was replaced with a choose-your-own-adventure novel where all paths lead to slightly different versions of uh-oh. This leads you to compare yourself to others and feel like you're failing before you even start, paralysis setting in. The core concept here is recognizing that this gut feeling, this avoidance, and the stories you weave are the first and often most significant barrier to financial growth. It's not the lack of money itself, the complexity of the financial world, or the state of the economy that is the primary problem right now. It's the resistance to seeing what is actually happening with your finances. It's a fundamental lack of active engagement with your own financial life. Think of it like ignoring a check engine light in your car. The problem doesn't go away, it just gets worse, and the eventual repair becomes far more complex and expensive. A surprising fact for many is realizing this avoidance isn't unique to you or your income level. It's a common human response to perceived threat or overwhelm. Whether you're a broke beginner wondering how to make ends meet, a growing earner juggling debt and feeling stuck, or an ambitious builder facing the pressure of managing complexity. This resistance keeps you exactly where you are, stuck in a cycle of uncertainty and powerlessness. It starves your potential for control and growth before it even has a chance to breathe. It tells you that you are merely a passenger in your financial life, subject to external forces beyond your influence. And as long as you believe that story and allow avoidance to rule, you will be a passenger. The surprising habit that changes everything is incredibly simple, yet profoundly difficult for many. Consistent, non-judgmental engagement, even if it's just for 5 minutes a day or week. Ask yourself, what specific story am I telling myself right now that prevents me from looking at my money? Is it, I don't have enough, it's too complex, or I'll feel bad? Identify the story, because that's the real villain here, not the numbers themselves. Try this for a week. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Open your banking app or pull out one bill. Just look, without judgment, without trying to solve everything. Just see. This simple act of facing the feeling and the numbers, even briefly, is the first step in reclaiming your power and changing the narrative from passenger to driver. Okay, let's dive into the core of what really shifts the needle in your financial journey. Section 2. Title: The One Principle That Changes Everything. Now, let's talk about the hard truth, but we'll do it with respect and a focus on empowerment. Many people spend years, maybe even decades, waiting for a big break, waiting for that lottery win, waiting for a wealthy relative to remember them in a will, or maybe even waiting for some magic government program to swoop in and fix everything. And while external factors can play a role and support can be helpful, here's the reality. Nobody is coming to save your finances from the core issue if you're not willing to look inward and take control. That might sound harsh, but understanding this is the first step towards genuine freedom. The single most powerful principle that applies whether you currently have $50 in your bank account or you're managing $50 million is taking radical ownership of your financial reality. This isn't about beating yourself up for past mistakes. Absolutely not. We've all made them. This is about reclaiming your power right now, today. Ownership means you acknowledge where you are financially, without sugarcoating, without making endless excuses, and importantly, without excessive self-pity. You look at the numbers, the habits, the situation, and you say, okay, this is my situation. These are the numbers. This is my responsibility. It's like looking in the mirror, seeing your current reflection and saying, okay, this is where I am. What am I going to do about it? Think about it this way. It's easy to blame a low salary for why you can't save, or high expenses for why you're in debt. And yes, those factors are real challenges. But the person who takes ownership stops there and simply says, okay, this is my income. This is my spending. What can I do about it? It's a subtle but seismic shift. It's the difference between being a passenger in a car, veering off course, and grabbing the steering wheel yourself. You might still be on a bumpy road, but now you're driving. Here's the surprising insight. The myth bust, if you will. Ownership isn't a heavy burden, shackling you to your problems. It's actually the foundation of freedom. When you fully own your situation, you stop being a victim of it. You stop feeling tossed around by external forces you can't control. Instead, you start becoming the architect of your future. You gain agency. You gain control over the controllable. It's the fundamental shift from asking, why is this happening to me, a victim mindset, to asking, What am I going to do about it? The creator mindset. This principle applies whether you're building a business, improving your health, or mastering your money. You own the starting point to design the end point. So, let's make this actionable right away. Your first personal action, something simple but profoundly powerful, is this. Reflect. In what specific area of your finances are you currently avoiding taking full ownership? Maybe it's tracking your spending. Maybe it's facing that debt number. Maybe it's acknowledging you need to earn more. Just identify one area where you've been saying, "I can't," because instead of "what can I do about," pinpoint it. That awareness is the first step to grabbing that steering wheel. And that brings us to the next crucial piece of the puzzle. Welcome to today's transformation dive into mastering your money and amplifying your life flow, right here on Earn Flow Zone. Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach when you see an email from the bank? Or maybe you've accidentally, on purpose, misplaced a bill you didn't want to deal with? You're not alone. Millions of us play this little game of financial peekaboo, pretending that if we don't look, the numbers somehow aren't real. We convince ourselves we're too busy, or that we'll handle it later, when later often turns into never. It's a classic move, dodging the discomfort now to face a bigger headache down the line. It's like ignoring that check engine light, hoping it'll magically fix itself. Spoiler alert, it rarely does, and the repair bill usually gets bigger. We're often better at scrolling mindlessly for an hour than spending 10 minutes reviewing our statements. Funny how that works, right? But what if the key to unlocking serious financial growth and peace isn't about complex strategies initially, but about dropping the avoidance and simply looking? That's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to confront the comfort zone of not knowing and step into the power zone of understanding. If you're ready to stop playing financial hide-and-seek and start building real momentum towards your goals, you're in the right place. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, powering more videos just like this. And hey, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Big or small, let's celebrate progress. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Section 3. The cost of looking away. All right, let's talk about something uncomfortable. Something most people intuitively understand, but actively try to avoid: the cost of looking away. What happens when you dodge, when you procrastinate, when you simply close your eyes to the numbers? You bleed. Not in a dramatic, sudden way usually, but slowly, sometimes, and absolutely constantly. This isn't just about losing a little bit here or there. It's like a slow, steady leak in your financial foundation. You bleed through unnecessary fees that pile up because you missed a deadline or didn't know the rules of an account. You bleed through avoidable interest charges on credit cards or loans that grow because you haven't tackled them head-on. You bleed through missed opportunities, chances to save money, chances to invest, chances to change terms, all because you weren't paying attention when the window was open. And perhaps most significantly, you bleed peace of mind. That lingering feeling of, "I should really look at that," or "I wonder how bad it is a constant drain on your mental and emotional energy. Ignoring a small leak in your roof doesn't make the water stop. It just means you end up dealing with a flood later, with far more damage to fix. It's the same with your finances. Think about it. A broke beginner scared to see how little they have or how much they've spent, avoids tracking expenses. They just swipe the card and hope for the best, then wonder every month where all their money vanished. It's not a mystery. It's the direct result of not looking. A mid-earner might have accumulated some credit card debt. They know it's there, but the thought of calculating the total, calling the bank, or exploring consolidation options feels overwhelming. So they avoid it, continuing to make minimum payments that barely touch the principal, paying crippling interest for years, essentially throwing money into a black hole month after month. An ambitious entrepreneur, maybe building something amazing, gets busy and avoids reviewing contracts carefully, glossing over the fine print on supplier agreements or client terms, only to lose significant chunks of profit later due to hidden clauses or unfavorable conditions they could have negotiated if they just looked. The relatable examples are everywhere, aren't they? It's that bill you shoved in a drawer, telling yourself you'll get to it, knowing deep down you probably won't until the late fee arrives. It's the email from the bank or your investment platform you quickly archive without opening because you don't want to see the balance or the performance. You forget about it, but your subconscious doesn't. It keeps running in the background, adding to your stress. But here's the surprising insight, the habit that challenges common thinking. This avoidance isn't protecting you from bad news. It creates the very chaos and stress you're afraid of facing. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of financial struggle. You think you're shielding yourself from discomfort, but you're actually guaranteeing worse news down the road. Every day you don't look is a day you can't make a different, potentially better choice. Every month you don't know your numbers is a month you're flying blind, navigating turbulent financial skies with no instruments. This one habit, facing the numbers, no matter how scary, changed everything for me and countless others. It's the first step to taking control. Your clear personal action, your challenge starting right now, is to identify one financial statement, one bill, or one online account you've been avoiding. Just one. And decide right now that you will look at it within the next 24 hours. Open the email, pull out the statement, log in. Just look. That's it. That simple act breaks the cycle of avoidance. Section 12. Wind down, reflective close. We've covered a lot today, from recognizing the comfortable trap of avoidance to understanding the real, tangible costs it incurs. We've seen how ignoring the small leaks guarantees a flood, and how flying blind leaves you at the mercy of the financial weather. The one big takeaway from all of this, the core message I hope you carry with you, is this: awareness is the ultimate currency in personal finance and growth. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. You cannot improve what you refuse to see. The simple, often uncomfortable act of looking at your statements, at your habits, at your mindset, is the most powerful step you can take towards creating the financial reality you desire. The potential long-term benefit if you commit to this shift from avoidance to awareness is immense. It's not just about saving money on fees or earning more interest. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about moving from a place of anxiety and uncertainty to one of confidence and control. Imagine making financial decisions from a place of knowledge, not fear. Imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing exactly where you stand, the clarity you gain that allows you to plan, to save, to invest effectively. This isn't just about building a bigger bank account. It's about building a more secure, more intentional life. A deeper insight about money, discipline, and growth is that they are profoundly intertwined with self-respect. Facing your financial reality, even when it's messy, is an act of self-respect. It's saying, my future well-being is important enough for me to endure this temporary discomfort. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want right now. And growth, true sustainable growth in finance and in life, happens not when things are easy, but when you courageously face the challenges and learn from them. It starts with that one statement, that one email, that one number you've been avoiding. Take the 24-hour challenge. Just look. See it for what it is. Then you can decide what to do next. That's where the power is. That's where the flow begins. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. All right, moving past the foundational ideas we just discussed, we arrive at a critical, often avoided crossroads on this path to financial freedom. Facing the numbers, not the fear. This step is deceptively simple, yet it's where so many people get stuck. The first act of true financial ownership isn't about complex spreadsheets or aggressive investment strategies. It's about something far more basic and, frankly, often terrifying. Simply looking at the actual numbers. We're talking about opening up your banking app, checking your total debt balance, tallying up where your money goes each month, or acknowledging your investment progress, or lack thereof. Why is this so universally scary? Because the unknown is always a far more fertile breeding ground for fear than reality will ever be. Your mind, given free rein, can conjure up financial monsters far worse than the truth. You might imagine you're utterly buried, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the red, when the reality is only negative a few thousand. Now, don't misunderstand me. Only negative a few thousand can still feel awful, absolutely. But here's the crucial difference. It's a specific, quantifiable problem. It's not a terrifying, bottomless void. It's like fearing a monster in the dark closet. You imagine tentacles and fangs, but when you turn on the light, you see it's just a pile of laundry. Still messy, maybe frustrating, but definitely not a monster you can't handle. Consider that familiar pang of dread when you know your credit card bill is due and you know it's high. You avoid looking at it for days, maybe even weeks. During that time, the fear grows, fueled by uncertainty. You conjure up worst-case scenarios in your head, but then finally, you steel yourself, you open the app, and you see the exact number. And yes, it hurts. It might be higher than you hoped. You see the interest rate ticking away. It's uncomfortable, maybe even painful. But something surprising happens. The amorphous blob of financial dread begins to solidify. It's no longer a vague, all-consuming terror. It's a specific amount, $3,452.78. It's a specific interest rate, 22.99%. Suddenly, you're not fighting a ghost. You're fighting a defined opponent. This is the surprising insight that many people miss. Clarity dissolves a huge amount of anxiety. The fear of the unknown is paralyzing. The fear of the known, while potentially painful, is mobilizing. Once you have the actual numbers, the abstract concept of bad finances transforms into specific line items, specific balances, specific debts, specific income streams. These are things you can analyze, things you can influence, things you can deal with. You might wince, you might feel frustrated, but you're no longer just feeling scared. You're seeing the playing field. You can't fix what you don't understand, and you absolutely cannot understand what you refuse to see. So, here is your clear personal action, right now, for this very moment. Open your main banking app or website. Look at your primary checking account balance. Just look at that number. Take a breath. That is it for this initial step. No judgment, no calculation, no panic, just observation. Acknowledge the number. You're not evaluating your worth or judging past decisions. You are simply gathering data points on the map. This one simple act is the first step out of the fog of fear and onto the solid ground of reality. It's the courage to flip on the light switch. What you see is what you have to work with, and simply seeing it is the most powerful first step. Okay, let's dive into the core of understanding where you stand. Taking ownership of your financial future, which we've talked about, starts with a simple yet often skipped step: knowing your financial geography. Think of it like planning a road trip. You can't even start calculating routes, gas stops, or destinations until you know precisely where you are right now. That's what this section is all about: getting your current coordinates. This isn't about building a perfect budget in an hour. It's about gathering the fundamental data points. It's a snapshot. What is your total income coming in this month? Not just your salary, but any side hustles, freelance gigs, or even that random rebate check. On the flip side, what are your total expenses? Every bill, every payment, every coffee, every spontaneous purchase. What's your total debt? List it all: credit cards, student loans, car payments, mortgages, and if you can, note the interest rates. Add another layer of clarity. And finally, what are your total savings and investments? How much cash is sitting there, and what assets are working for you? Now, the depth of this snapshot will vary depending on where you are on your financial journey. For the broke beginner, this might mean meticulous tracking of every single cent spent for just a week. When funds are minimal, understanding where every tiny bit is going is paramount to finding breathing room. Are those few dollars disappearing into snacks and impulse buys, or essential transport? For the growing earner, it's crucial to list all debts. It's not enough to know you have debt. You need to know who you owe, how much, and those pesky interest rates, because those rates are like financial gravity pulling against your progress. For the ambitious builder, someone focused on accumulating wealth, this means truly understanding their monthly cash flow. Where is the money coming from, and where is it truly going? Not just in personal spending, but in business expenses, investments, and debt acceleration strategies. The relatable example here is powerful. Most people operate on feeling or vague estimates. They'll say, "Man, I think I spend a lot on food," and maybe they budget $400 for the month in their head. But when they actually track every dollar for 30 days, they have a shocking realization. They spent $800, and they can see exactly where it went. $300 at restaurants, $400 at the grocery store, and half of that was impulse buys, and $100 on daily coffees. It's like trying to lose weight by guessing your calorie intake versus actually tracking it. The reality is often wildly different from the perception. And here's the surprising insight. The myth bust almost. Most people vastly underestimate their spending and simultaneously overestimate their financial knowledge or control. They feel like they have a handle on things because they pay bills on time, but they have zero clue where their disposable income evaporates. Knowing these actual numbers, the cold, hard financial facts of your current position, is step 0. It's the absolute foundation. And shockingly, it's the step most people skip. preferring to stay in the comfortable fog of approximation rather than facing the clarity of reality. But you can't chart a course to financial freedom from a place of ignorance. So your clear personal action, starting right now, is simple but requires discipline. For the next 3 days, carry a small notebook or use a notes app on your phone. Write down every single dollar you spend. No exceptions. Zero judgment. Just track. This isn't forever. It's just a micro-challenge to build awareness. Don't try to change anything you spend on. Just observe. Treat it like a scientific experiment on yourself. This one small habit change, even for just 72 hours, can provide more insight than years of thinking about your money. All right, diving into the next crucial principle, and this one might challenge what you think you know. We're talking about ownership at every level. Now, you might hear the word ownership in finance circles and picture CEOs or real estate moguls, like it's some advanced, complex strategy reserved for the super wealthy playing chess with millions. But let me tell you, that's a major myth we need to bust right here at Earn Flow Zone. Ownership isn't the capstone. It's the foundation. It's the fundamental habit that allows wealth to be built, sustained, and grown over time. Without it, money just, well, you know the feeling. Poof! It's gone before you even know where it went. Ownership isn't about having assets initially. It's about taking radical responsibility for your current financial reality, whatever it is. It looks drastically different depending on your current financial status, whether you're just starting out, growing, or already building significant wealth. But the commitment to understanding and directing your money, that's exactly the same. Think about the broke beginner earning minimum wage. Ownership here isn't buying stocks. It's about knowing exactly where every single hard-earned dollar goes. It's tracking your spending like a hawk, preventing that frustrating poof, it's gone feeling, and actively, sometimes creatively, seeking ways to earn even a few extra dollars or cut expenses, even seemingly insignificant ones. It's taking ownership of your limited resources and making them work as hard as possible. It's like being given a tiny seed and committing to nurturing it with every drop of water and ray of light, rather than just tossing it aside. Then you have the growing earner. Maybe you have a stable income now, which is great. But perhaps you're carrying the weight of student loans, credit card debt, or a car payment that feels heavy. Ownership at this level isn't about pretending the debt isn't there. Oh no, it's about facing that debt head-on. It's understanding the interest rates that are quietly eating away at your future wealth, the hidden cost of delay. It's about creating a conscious, detailed plan to pay down that debt aggressively, while simultaneously, yes, also starting to build a savings cushion. You own the numbers, you own the plan, and you own the discipline to stick to it. You build your debt payoff spreadsheet like a general planning a crucial campaign. And finally, for the ambitious builder, someone managing multiple income streams, maybe significant investments, running a business with employees, or handling complex portfolios, ownership here evolves. It's about rigorous financial review, not just glancing at account balances. It's understanding cash flow intimately, managing risk strategically, and making proactive decisions for exponential growth, not just reacting to market shifts or business challenges. You own the performance of your assets, you own the efficiency of your operations, and you own the big picture vision. Here's the truly surprising insight, the twist in the plot. The act of taking ownership at whatever level you're currently at, is precisely what builds the financial muscle you need for the next level. You don't magically gain the capacity for complex financial management when you become a builder. You become a builder, a growing earner, or a financially stable individual by practicing ownership consistently at your current stage. It's like training for a marathon. You start with walking, then jogging, building endurance step by step. Ownership is your financial training ground. It's the reps you do now that build the strength for tomorrow. This principle of owning your numbers and your decisions changes everything because it shifts you from a passive passenger to the active pilot of your financial life. The cause and effect are clear. Taking ownership leads to clarity, which leads to control, which inevitably leads to progress. You move from wishing for a better financial future to actively creating it. So, let's make this personal for a moment. Look at where you are right now. Ask yourself, regardless of your current financial status, beginner, growing, or builder, how does taking ownership feel like the necessary, powerful next step specifically for you right now? What one number do you need to face? What one plan do you need to make? Taking ownership is the most powerful action you can take today. Ignorance can feel surprisingly comfortable, can't it? It's like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket against the cold wind of reality. You don't look at the bank balance, you don't tally up the debt, and for a little while, that feels safe. But that feeling is an illusion. That blanket of ignorance doesn't protect you. It just keeps you from seeing the cliff edge you're walking towards. In the short term, avoiding your financial reality feels easier, but it inevitably leads to powerlessness in the long run. The real power, the true freedom, comes from knowing. Knowing your numbers, even if they make your stomach clench, is like turning on a powerful light in a dark room. It gives you power. It gives you the ability to make conscious, informed choices instead of just operating on financial autopilot or reacting purely out of fear and anxiety. When you know exactly how much you spend on those impulse purchases, maybe it's daily coffees, those late-night online shopping sprees, it stops being a vague feeling of money disappears. It becomes a concrete number you can look at and say, okay, that's where it's going. I can choose to redirect that. When you know the interest rate on your worst debt, that high APR credit card that feels like a financial anchor, you are suddenly motivated to attack it with a focused intensity you didn't have before. And when you know your net worth, the total sum of your assets minus your liabilities, it's not just a score, it's a tracking mechanism. It allows you to see your progress, celebrate momentum, and feel like you're actually moving forward. Think about someone who decides they want to save for a significant goal, like a down payment on a house. If they don't know their income, their exact monthly expenses, and precisely how much they are currently saving, it's just a wish whispered into the wind. It's a hopeful thought with no foundation. But if they do know those numbers, everything changes. They can calculate exactly how much they can save each month based on their current reality. They can project how long it will realistically take to hit their goal. And critically, they can identify where they might need to adjust spending, cut back on non-essentials, or even explore ways to increase income to speed up the timeline. Knowing turns a wish into a plan, a dream into a roadmap. Now, here's the surprising insight, and it's something that shifted everything for me. Your financial reality isn't a moral judgment, it's simply data. This is a huge mindset shift. People often carry so much shame and guilt about their finances, viewing their numbers, whether it's debt or a low savings balance, as a reflection of their worth or their failures as a person. But when you treat your financial situation as pure, unbiased data, like a spreadsheet or a map, you remove that heavy emotional baggage. Data doesn't judge you, it just is. When you see it as data, you can analyze it objectively. You can learn from past spending patterns without shame. You can use the numbers to make smarter, more informed decisions about the future, free from the emotional fog of avoidance and fear. This data is your map showing you exactly where you are right now, and your compass guiding you toward where you want to be. You can't navigate effectively without knowing your starting point. You can't make a change if you don't understand the current state. This clarity allows for intentional action. So, here is your clear personal action from this section. Identify one specific number related to your finances that you currently don't know. Don't overthink it. Just pick one. Maybe it's your total non-mortgage debt across all credit cards, car loans, student loans. Maybe it's your exact average monthly expense on groceries and dining out combined over the last 3 months. It could be the precise current balance in your savings account or the total market value of your investments right now. Pick just one number you've been avoiding or simply haven't gotten around to finding. Now make a concrete plan right now to find that number today. Open the app, log into the website, find the statement, make the call. Just get the number. Take that first step out of ignorance and into the power of knowing. All right, let's shift gears slightly, because taking real ownership of your money goes far beyond just tallying numbers. We've talked about mindset, we've talked about earning, but now we're getting into the brass tacks of what you do with what you have strategically. This isn't just about creating a budget and then playing defense, desperately cutting expenses like you're on a financial diet of deprivation. Though hey, sometimes that diet is needed to reset. True financial ownership is about the conscious, strategic allocation of your most valuable financial resource, your money. Think of it not just as money coming in and going out, but as units of potential energy that you get to direct. It's deciding, before the month starts, where every single dollar should go, based explicitly on your priorities and your long-term goals. It's the difference between being the captain of your ship, setting the course, versus being a passenger watching the waves, wonder where you'll end up. This principle is universal, regardless of where you are on your journey. For the beginner, it's consciously deciding to allocate just $20 a week, maybe from cutting out a few impulse buys, directly into an emergency fund. That $20 isn't just saved, it's directed towards security. For the mid-earner feeling stuck, it's looking at where the money is going. Maybe too much on subscriptions they don't use. We all have a few secret zombie subscriptions, right? Or discretionary spending that doesn't add lasting value, and consciously redirecting those funds aggressively towards paying off high-interest debt. It's not about stopping spending, it's about choosing different spending. For the business builder, it's the strategic call. Do I reinvest 50% of profits back into scaling the business? Or do I diversify and allocate funds to a different asset class, like real estate, for stability or different growth? Each is an active choice, a conscious direction of resources. The relatable moment here isn't just the cliché cutting of lattes, though sometimes, yes, that's part of the honest look. It's the quiet realization when you review your spending. Okay, I spent $150 last month on various online subscriptions I barely use. That $150, if intentionally put towards my credit card debt, could knock off a significant chunk over time and save me interest. Or I spent $300 on casual entertainment I didn't even really enjoy. What if I consciously allocated half of that, $150, into an investment account every month? The potential growth over years is massive compared to the fleeting pleasure of those random purchases. It's the power of redirecting, of choosing a higher purpose for those funds. Here's the surprising insight, the myth bust that changes everything for many people. Financial ownership isn't about deprivation. It is fundamentally about maximizing value and aligning your money with what truly matters to you. It's not about saying no to everything fun or comfortable. In fact, sometimes taking true ownership means consciously deciding to spend more money on things that provide significant long-term value or deep joy. Maybe it's investing in a high-quality course that boosts your earning potential, spending on experiences that enrich your life more than material goods, or paying for convenience that frees up your time, your other valuable resource, for more profitable or fulfilling activities. The key is the intention behind the spending. You aren't just spending, you are allocating resources to support your desired life and goals. This perspective shift moves you from a defensive, reactive stance with your money to an offensive, proactive one. You become the architect of your financial flow. Now, for a moment of honest reflection. Look back at your recent spending, maybe your last bank statement or credit card bill, or even think about where your time and energy have been going towards earning or not earning. Where are you currently allocating money or time/energy towards earning without conscious intent or clear alignment with your bigger goals? Where is your financial energy leaking or flowing without direction? This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. The first step to conscious redirection. This intentional allocation, this strategic choice, builds the foundation for true financial growth and security. Section 9. Owning your money story. Behind every financial situation, every balance, every decision you make or avoid making with your money, there's a story. Not a fictional tale, but your money story. A complex tapestry woven from beliefs you absorbed growing up, experiences you've had, good and bad, and narratives you've either created or inherited about money, wealth, and yourself in relation to it. Think about it. You might carry phrases like, "I'm just bad with money," "Money is the root of all evil," or "It's not my fault, the economy is rigged," or that persistent whisper, "They'll never earn enough." These aren't just random thoughts, they're powerful scripts running in the background, dictating your financial actions or often your inaction. Like a filter placed over your vision, they shape how you see opportunity, how you react to challenges, and what you believe is possible for you. The critical shift, the one that changes everything, is owning these stories. It's recognizing them for what they are. Narratives, not unchangeable facts carved in stone. You're not saying the story is true, but you're acknowledging its existence and its influence. Consider the classic example provided. Someone who genuinely believes, "I'm just not good with numbers." If they let that story own them, they'll avoid tracking their spending, budgeting, or looking at investments altogether. Why bother? The story tells them they'll fail anyway, but someone else with the exact same belief, who decides to take ownership, shifts their internal dialogue. They might say, "Okay, maybe I'm not naturally gifted with math, But that doesn't mean I can't learn how to track numbers, use a spreadsheet, or understand the basics. They separate their inherent worth or intelligence from a specific, learnable skill. It's like deciding that because you can't instantly juggle, you can't learn to catch a ball. Ridiculous, right? But that's often how we treat our money stories. Here's the genuinely surprising insight, one that might initially sound counterintuitive, but holds incredible truth. Your internal money story is often a significantly bigger barrier to financial progress than your external circumstances. Yes, the economy, your job, unexpected bills, these are real. But your story about them, your belief about your ability to navigate them or change your situation, is what truly determines your path. You can be in challenging external circumstances, but have a resilient story that drives you to find solutions. Conversely, you can have decent external circumstances, but a paralyzing internal story that keeps you stuck. This is the powerful cause-effect clarity we talk about at Earn Flow Zone. Your mindset, the story, is the cause. Your financial reality, the flow, is often the effect. Ownership of your finances, therefore, fundamentally requires ownership of your mindset about money. It means rewriting that internal script from one of limitation to one of possibility, seeing challenges as problems to solve rather than insurmountable walls. So how do you start this process of ownership and rewriting? It begins with awareness and a simple, direct action. You have to bring these hidden narratives into the light. Your clear personal action right now, this week, is this. Identify one negative belief you hold about yourself and money, e.g., I'm not smart enough to invest. I'm always going to be poor. Write it down. Get it out of your head and onto paper or a screen. See the words. Then, write down one piece of evidence from your life, however small, that contradicts it, or simply reframe it as a challenge you can overcome. Maybe you successfully saved for something small, proving you can manage money sometimes. Maybe you learned a new skill, proving you are capable of learning complex things like investing. This one habit changed everything for me, moving from accepting the story as fact to questioning it, and then actively building a new narrative based on evidence and empowered action. It's the first step to changing your financial future by changing the story within you. Welcome to today's transformation dive right here on Earn Flow Zone. Have you ever scrolled through social media, seen someone's seemingly effortless success, and felt a pang of envy or frustration? Like they found some secret cheat code to life or money that you missed? We're often sold this idea that massive leaps forward require massive, overwhelming actions, a grueling diet, a sudden career pivot, or locking yourself in a room for 72 hours to build a budget spreadsheet that would make a NASA engineer sweat. The truth? Real, sustainable growth in your finances, your career, or your personal well-being isn't usually built on those dramatic, one-off heroics. It's built on something far less glamorous, something often overlooked: consistency. It's the daily grind you don't see on the highlight reels. It's the small steps taken repeatedly that create an unstoppable momentum. The good news? This path is open to absolutely everyone, including you. You don't need a financial degree or a sudden inheritance. You need a willingness to engage, to show up, and to trust the process of small, consistent effort. It's about shifting from a mindset of someday I'll fix everything to today I'll do one small thing. If you're ready to move past wishing and into doing, if you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that helps you build the life you want. Hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and keeps this valuable content coming your way. And hey, I love connecting with you all. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win, no matter how small you think it is. Let's celebrate those wins. All right, let's dive in and change the way you think about success, starting with a concept that's deceptively simple but profoundly powerful. Consistency is king, and this is where the rubber meets the road in personal finance and growth. You see, achieving financial health or mastering any new skill isn't a one-time declaration, like shouting, "I'm rich," from a rooftop, though that would be kind of funny. It's an ongoing practice, much like maintaining physical health. You don't go to the gym once for 5 hours and expect to be fit for life, right? Financial well-being requires that same consistent attention, not a single magic cure. It's fundamentally about building small, repeatable habits. Think about it. Regularly checking your accounts, even just a quick glance, tracking your spending, maybe not forever, but perhaps for a few weeks periodically to understand where your money actually goes versus where you think it goes. It's about reviewing your progress against your goals and, crucially, adjusting your plan as life inevitably throws curveballs your way. People often underestimate the power of rhythm. Let's picture Sarah. Sarah isn't a financial guru. She's busy, but she decided she needed to feel more in control. So, she scheduled 15 minutes every Sunday morning specifically to check her budget and financial accounts. It started as a chore, maybe even a little dreaded. But now, it's become a ritual, a quiet moment with her coffee, where she connects with her financial reality. This consistent checking allows her to catch potential problems early, like that subscription she forgot about. Celebrate small wins, like seeing her savings tick up, and simply stay connected to her money. It's like having a regular checkup, but for your wallet. The surprising insight here is how dramatically small, consistent actions beat sporadic, heroic efforts. Seriously, you don't need to spend an entire Saturday tearing your hair out over spreadsheets. That all-day money marathon once a year, usually born of panic after realizing things are off track, is far less effective than a brief, regular check-in. That consistent habit of checking in builds momentum, prevents drift, and turns potentially overwhelming tasks into manageable routines. It's the difference between trying to sprint a marathon and consistently walking a mile every day. The walker builds endurance and finishes. The sprinter burns out or injures themselves. This one habit changed everything for people like Sarah. It shifted finances from a scary, abstract problem to a part of her weekly routine. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from giving your money this consistent, gentle attention? The power isn't in the duration, but in the regularity. So, here is your clear, personal action. Something actionable you can do right now. Schedule 15 to 20 minutes in your calendar sometime in the next 7 days, specifically for reviewing your finances. Treat it like an important appointment with yourself and your future. Set a reminder. Block the time. Just 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. See what showing up consistently does. So we've covered the power of consistency, the importance of small, repeated actions over big, infrequent ones. As we start to wind down, let's take a moment to really internalize what this means. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information out there, the endless list of things you should be doing with your money or your life. But the truth is, Complexity is often the enemy of action. Simplicity and consistency are your greatest allies. The big takeaway isn't about having a perfect plan from day one. It's about consistently showing up for the plan you have and being willing to adjust it. Think about the long-term benefit. Each small check-in, each tracked expense, each moment you spend connecting with your financial goals is a brick in the foundation of your financial future. These habits build resilience. They build awareness. They build confidence. Instead of feeling like money is something that happens to you, you start to feel like money is something you manage and direct. It shifts from a source of anxiety to a tool for building the life you want. But deeper insight emerges when you embrace this. Discipline isn't about punishment or restriction. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want right now. Consistently choosing the 15-minute check-in over scrolling social media is choosing long-term security and peace of mind over momentary distraction. It's a powerful act of self-respect. Remember, your journey to financial freedom and personal growth is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. Show up, take the small action, and trust that the cumulative effect will be profound. The path is built one step, one consistent habit at a time. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here on Earn Flow Zone. Ever feel like money is playing hide and seek with you, and you're always it, but never quite find it? Or maybe it feels less like a game and more like a relentless current you're desperately trying not to drown in. It's easy to think that wealth or financial stability is something that just happens to lucky people, like winning a random lottery for a perfectly balanced budget and overflowing savings account. But what if I told you that the real secret, the actual cheat code, isn't about external luck at all? It's about something entirely within your control, something that shifts the entire game in your favor. It's about taking the reins, becoming the architect of your own financial reality instead of just a passive observer. Too many people spend their lives reacting to money, reacting to bills, reacting to unexpected expenses, reacting to payday, by immediately planning how to spend it all. They live in a state of financial reactivity, which is exhausting and rarely leads to genuine growth or peace. We're here to flip that script entirely. We're talking about proactive power, intentional design, and building a financial life that doesn't just survive, but thrives and flows. If you're tired of the money-stress treadmill, and ready to build a life where your finances support your dreams, not limit them, you're in the right place. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that cuts through the noise and actually helps you build your best financial future, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and ensures you don't miss out on future dives. And while you're at it, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win, big or small. Sharing our successes, even the quiet ones, reinforces the positive cycle. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. So what happens when you truly take ownership of your financial life? It's less like getting a key to a locked vault and more like discovering you had the steering wheel and accelerator all along, but you just weren't using them. You unlock incredible power. This isn't some abstract concept. It's practical, tangible power that changes your daily life. First, you gain the power to say no, and I mean a powerful no, to spending that doesn't actually serve you, doesn't align with your values, or is just a fleeting impulse disguised as a need. It's like decluttering your spending habits the same way you might declutter your closet. You get rid of what's not serving you to make space for what truly matters. Then comes the power to make informed decisions about every facet of your financial life: earning, saving, investing, and spending. You move from guessing or hoping to knowing and directing. Instead of vaguely thinking, "I should save," you decide, "I will save X amount by Y date for Z goal," and create a clear path. This clarity builds confidence. It's the difference between wandering through a complex city hoping you find your destination and using a GPS with turn-by-turn directions. You might still hit traffic, but you know where you're going and how to adjust. This ownership gives you the power to set meaningful goals, not just pipe dreams, but actionable targets, and actually work towards them with a clear map. You replace vague wishes with concrete steps, and crucially, you gain the power to significantly reduce financial stress because the terrifying unknown is replaced by the predictable known. When you know exactly where your money is going, where it needs to go, and how it's working for you, or not working for you, the monsters under the bed disappear. You might still have challenges, but they're manageable problems with solutions, not overwhelming mysteries. Let's make this real with a couple of relatable examples. Think about a growing earner buried under student loans or credit card debt. Before ownership, they might make minimum payments, feeling stuck and hopeless. Taking ownership means confronting the total debt, understanding the interest, and building a proactive payoff plan, maybe the debt snowball or avalanche method. By owning the problem, they accelerate their debt freedom journey, saving potentially thousands in interest and, more importantly, freeing up future cash flow and mental energy. Or consider a builder, someone crafting tangible things, but maybe neglecting the spreadsheets. Taking ownership of their business financials isn't just tracking expenses. It's analyzing, identifying inefficient areas, optimizing pricing, and understanding cash flow cycles. This ownership directly increases profitability and provides stability, allowing them to build bigger and better projects. Here's the surprising insight: the truth that often gets overlooked when we talk about financial success. The greatest return on investment from taking financial ownership isn't just measured in dollars and cents, the growth in your bank account, or the value of your portfolio. While those are fantastic outcomes, the truly transformative return is measured in peace of mind, the profound sense of control you gain over your life, and the ability to live a life that is genuinely aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. It's about aligning your money actions with what you say matters most to you. This one habit of taking radical ownership changed everything for me, moving me from a reactive stance to a proactive one. You move from feeling like a leaf blown arbitrarily by the wind of bills and expenses to becoming the confident captain of your own ship, charting your course through the financial waters. This is the critical moment where Earn Flow Zone truly begins to manifest in your life. When you shift from passenger to pilot, consciously directing your resources, your energy, and your decisions towards building the future you desire. Try this for a week. Identify one area of your finances you feel reactive about, e.g., impulse spending, bill paying, tracking. Ask yourself, what small step could you take to take ownership of it today? That's where the power starts. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, from feeling like a leaf blown by the wind to becoming the captain of your financial ship by taking ownership. The core idea is simple but profound. Your financial reality is largely a reflection of your financial mindset and the degree to which you engage with it, rather than being something that happens to you. The one big takeaway from our time today is this: you hold the power to transform your financial life simply by deciding to take radical ownership of it, piece by piece. It starts with acknowledging where you are, deciding where you want to go, and then deliberately charting the course. The potential long-term benefit if you truly embrace this concept of ownership is staggering. It's not just about accumulating wealth. It's about building a life of choice, security, and purpose. Imagine the freedom from constant worry, the confidence in facing financial decisions, and the sheer possibility that opens up when your money is working for you, aligned with your goals. It's the difference between constantly battling the tide and learning to harness its power. A deeper insight about money, discipline, and growth is that they are inextricably linked. Discipline isn't punishment. It's choosing what you want most over what you want now. And when applied to your finances through ownership, that discipline cultivates growth not just in your bank account, but in your character, your resilience, and your capacity to achieve significant things. It's a virtuous cycle. Taking ownership requires discipline. Discipline leads to clarity and control, and clarity and control are the fertile ground for growth in every sense. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. So we've explored the landscape of personal finance, navigating through common pitfalls and powerful levers. And all of it, every single principle, every practical tip, every mindset shift we've discussed, brings us back to one absolute non-negotiable core: taking radical ownership of your financial reality. Think of it like learning to drive. You can know the rules of the road, understand how the engine works, and even have a map. But until you get behind the wheel and decide to steer, you're just a passenger. You started this journey perhaps with that familiar gut feeling, the knot of anxiety, the impulse to avoid looking at your bank statements, the powerful, pervasive myth that money is some wild, uncontrollable force that just happens to you. It feels like you're being tossed about by financial waves, hoping you'll somehow drift to shore. This principle of taking radical ownership isn't just a nice idea, it's the bedrock. It doesn't matter if you're staring at an empty bank account, juggling a growing income that seems to vanish just as quickly as it arrives, or trying to build complex investment structures. The level of financial sophistication changes, but the fundamental requirement does not. Ownership is the difference between being helplessly swept away by the currents and actively learning to navigate them. Charting your own course. It's the crucial pivot from wishing things would magically get better to consciously, deliberately making them better. What happens if you decide this ownership thing isn't for you? If you ignore this fundamental lesson, the avoidance continues, usually deepening. The debt grows unchecked, or the savings you desperately need shrink away. Opportunities that require even a tiny bit of financial clarity or courage pass you by. The stress doesn't fade. It remains a constant low-level hum in the background, affecting everything from your sleep to your relationships. Your limiting beliefs about money, about yourself, they don't just persist, they solidify, becoming harder and harder to break free from, like concrete setting around your feet. You stay stuck in that reactive cycle, constantly putting out fires, instead of proactively building something resilient and strong. You remain a passenger in your financial life, stuck in the same seat, constantly wishing the driver would take a different turn, but never reaching for the steering wheel yourself. The earn flow zone, that place where your earning, saving, investing, and spending feel aligned, intentional, and empowering, isn't some mythical island you stumble upon by accident. It's a state you enter through conscious action and consistent ownership. It's about understanding the resources you have. Your income, yes, but also your time, your energy, your mindset, your skills, and directing them with intention, not just letting them scatter randomly. And this isn't about demanding perfection from yourself from day one. Nobody expects you to be a financial guru overnight. It's about progress, driven by two incredibly simple, yet incredibly brave acts: seeing your reality for what it is, without flinching, and deciding to do something about it. You have the inherent power to change your financial trajectory, right here, right now. You don't need a fancy finance degree or some sudden, miraculous windfall to start. You don't need permission. All it requires is the courage to look, to know, and to choose action, even small action, over comfortable avoidance. You absolutely do not need to solve every single financial challenge staring you down today. But you do need to start. And that brings us to this moment, the culmination of everything we've explored. Here is your single, clear action. Doable step you can take today, right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more ready. No excuses, no later. It's the act of reaching for that steering wheel. What is that one thing for you? Is it opening the bank app you've been avoiding? Is it listing out your 3 biggest debts? Is it tracking every dollar you spend for just 24 hours? This one small, brave act of seeing and deciding is the true entry point into the earn flow zone. It's the first conscious turn of the wheel. In the end, you'll discover a powerful truth. Your financial reality isn't nearly as complicated as your avoidance makes it seem. The most effective financial tool isn't found in an app or a spreadsheet. It's found in your own willingness to look honestly at your situation and take deliberate action. It turns out, the key to unlocking consistent financial flow wasn't finding hidden treasure, but simply opening your eyes and taking the first intentional step forward.